Old man was kicked out of his home. The reporters revealed his astonishing story. When he was standing there on the curb with all of his belongings, this old man realized the game was over. He had lost the place that he had called home for years and had no money to move on. Reporters quickly gained the interest in his story of his life and decided to investigate his past further. However, they didn't expect this ordinary man would embody such an extraordinary identity. In June 2017, a man who lived in Memphis, Tennessee, started having arguments with his landlord. The issues got really serious, and the landlord decided to bring it to a close by contacting the authorities to have him thrown out of his home in the suburb of Binghamton. So now he was living on the streets with all of his belongings. But what had happened that made him homeless? The landlord started complaining the man hadn't paid for rent. The man revealed that he stopped making rent payments because the landlord complained about the man's cats. You see, the older man was living with 20 cats, which made the neighborhood unhappy about it. He explained that they had helped him to overcome some of the most challenging moments in his life. The older man's life experience taught him to help those in need, and he gave home to 20 strays and bonded with each one.
I love cats. I think cats are wonderful.
Multiple complaints from the neighborhood forced the landlord to act. Despite everything, he refused to understand his old tenant, causing the situation to develop horribly. After 10 years of renting the same apartment and creating thousands of memories, the old man was kicked out to the street with no compassion. Meanwhile, the Memphis Animal Shelter had been alerted about the situation and took all his cats into their care. The man lost his home and his closest friends. Things were only getting worse. In a fraction of time, he found himself standing on the street with all of his belongings thrown on the lawn. To make some money and not die from hunger, he decided to sell them. What's worse, the landlord promised to throw his things away from the lawn if the man didn't manage to sell everything in a few days. This only added to the grief the former tenant was feeling. He was utterly distressed and lost, but then the local news channel found out and later was surprised by his story. So what did they discover about this humble man? It's no wonder the tenant felt incredibly violated, standing there with all his belongings out on the lawn. You kinda get goosebumps, he said. It's like looking at something for the first time when you haven't seen them in a while.
It was just frustrating.
When the local news channel heard of his sad story, they rushed to his former home to find more. What they found there made them speechless. When the reporters interviewed the older man about his situation, trying to help raise awareness of his condition, he said he had no clue what to do next. However, soon enough, they revealed something about him that left them baffled. Once the man's story became popular on the local news channel, a lot of locals got interested. What's more, one of the citizens, named Joan Chanel, recognized the older man as a former classmate from Memphis Technical High School. What she mentioned about him was a fantastic story to say the least. The man was named Titus Blade Steele, and he was one of the first African-American children to visit the Memphis Technical High School. His classmates remember him as a very talented guy who created incredible pieces of art. Titus's story only gained further traction from this moment, as this wasn't the only staggering information about him. You see, Titus had to overcome tough times in his life. There was a newspaper clipping lying on the curb among his belongings which said his brother was murdered. No one expected to reveal such devastating information, and Steele quickly disclosed the situation and how it changed his life. That was one of the saddest days of my life because my brother and I were so close, Steele told the reporters. His brother's death would further be the starting point of the extraordinary life he would lead. While searching through more of his belongings, reporters found a lot of newspaper clippings that showed Steele's life as a writer, artist, and traveler. This man created amazing paintings while volunteering in his spare time. He was the one who always helped those in need, and this made a lot of people even more encouraged to help him. After Steele's story was published on a group alumni page, most of the other former classmates quickly recognized him. They all wanted to help their talented classmate, so Channel decided to arrange a meeting with him. What she would bring to this meeting later would bring tears to the older man's eyes. So what was the special gift? Channel met with Steele in July and brought many letters and notes from many of Steele's former classmates and friends. With your warm and cheerful smile, you broke down barriers and made friends that'll last a lifetime, one of his classmates had written. Wow, letters from everybody, he said as he looked at them all. Titus was shocked and deeply touched by such compassion. It seemed like he really left an imprint on everyone's life that he touched. But little did he know it wasn't even the full gift from them. At that moment, the man started living with his sister and didn't expect any help from anyone. But then, out of the blue, he found out that Chanel gifted him with $1,500 that all his classmates raised together. "It's generous, and I feel like I could cry," he told reporters. Titus met with most of his former classmates just a few weeks after he received their generous gift. He was deeply grateful to those people who helped him to kickstart a new life at 69. The man doesn't plan to give up and actually has already big plans for his future. You see, he dreams to open up his very own cat shelter in order to help all cats that are in need of a home. Titus is convinced that we have to help the less fortunate, just like his classmates helped him when he needed it the most.